And what I absolutely love about veterans is that failure's not an option.
Right.
And they have the intestinal fortitude that it takes
Good
to
phrase.
be a business owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not easy.
No. I love that intestinal fortitude. Like, that's great. I love that. I'm going to use that.
Hey there, everyone. I'm one of your hosts, Kaylee Jakovics.
And I'm Alex Ficari.
And welcome to The Diligent Leader. Today, we are talking about how empowering veterans entrepreneurs through procurement excellence with Barbara Ashe, who is the National Director and founder of Veterans Institute for Procurement, as well as the Executive Vice President for the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Kaylee and Alex, for inviting me. It's truly an honor. I've had the pleasure to look at some of the Diligent Leader podcasts, and very inspiring. So I'm just honored to be a part of that community. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and Barbara, I was thinking about this today as we're preparing to meet with you and have this opportunity to sit down. And I kept thinking, I've known Barbara a very long time. Like, I mean, I've known you now, I think, if I did the math right, I think I've known you 7 years. Like, and we've been working together, maybe even 8. I think that's been fantastic.
Been that long?
Yeah, I think it's been that long. Well, so when we first met, if I may tell the story
sure,
briefly,
yeah.
we met through the veteran, the VIP program. And I attended the class, and after attending it, it kind of went from there. But that's when we first met, and I had the opportunity to go through the program that we're going to be talking about, and as well as your work in general. So I'm excited to be kind of coming full circle. To
And now
talk
you
again.
support the mission.
And now I support the mission as well. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, tell our guests a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got involved in supporting veterans.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a great story, I think, but I think it's how all things begin. It began with a conversation, and it was a conversation with me and 2 of the other founders. So John Sakara from Lockheed Martin, who you know, John, he's on our board, and Barry Kane, who at the time was one of the most successful service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. They had already become large, and the conversation was just about how can we help veterans.
Yeah.
And you usually start with what you know, right?
Sure.
And so going to the Montgomery, kind of how does we tie in,
Right.
VIP to the Montgomery County Chamber? What was the connection there? Well, at the time I was with the Montgomery County Chamber, as I am today, but I also ran, as part of being the executive vice president there, the government contracting programs.
Okay.
And for a local chamber, there's like 3,000 local chambers in the country.
Wow, that's a lot.
But to have a local chamber focus on federal policy or procurement is unusual, right? Because
Sure.
government's huge usually, and we do focus on state and local as well.
Yeah.
But I manage the federal piece, and the reason why is Montgomery County is number 2 in the nation in the number of small businesses that sell to the federal government.
Yes.
So if a chamber's doing its job, it's focused on helping the business community where they reside thrive. It's an economic imperative, quite frankly. And so if a big part of your economy is federal procurement, and we have the largest government contractor there. We have Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, absolutely.
There, right? But we also have the most smalls.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and who needs the assistance in
Right.
growing, obviously, it would be the small businesses. So I manage that. So when Barry and John and I started talking, how could we
Right.
help veterans? You've got John, who was working with Lockheed Martin,
Sure.
right? And he was in their supplier diversity program in terms of
Right.
finding the right suppliers to help them support the customer, the federal
Right.
government. And, a service-disabled, veteran-owned business owner, Barry Kane, and what I did. So there you have it.
That's a great
how
combo.
Love it.
Yeah, it was great. So we started with what we could do.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I really do feel this way, that I feel everyone owes a debt of not just gratitude, but service
Yeah.
to our veteran community. And I think everyone has something they can contribute.
100%.
And so this is really our way of how we can contribute and say thank you to the veteran community, and it has been just a joy. It's really my happy place.
Well, and I want to reflect, go back to some of the points you're making, and I think, you're right. As a veteran, I loved serving, and it was an honor. People say thank you for serving, but I was like, well, it was an honor. It was one of the great points in my journey of becoming who I am today. But I think that's an important thing. We volunteered to go do that, right? We weren't forced. We said we'll go do this, and I think for that one reason alone, I think it's a great reason why you say, let's give these people the attention, respect, and support that they deserve, that they honored us with. So I've always loved that aspect about this program. And the other aspect of it is, I think it makes sense to me. Why would you not want to help veterans? Because what have veterans done? They not only do they go in harm's way, but more importantly, they learn so many things. They learn about leadership. They learn about taking initiative and executing and follow-up and diligence and, all those things that I think are really important in a leader. And so why would you not take that audience who's primed for success? It just, they may not know it. They might not recognize it initially, but there's so many that do need that help. So I think this is great.
Absolutely. And oh, by the way, they started that journey probably at a very young age.
Yes, good point. Good point.
And what I didn't, I am not a veteran, and I did not appreciate until much later we've been doing VIP now for 16 years, and the veteran community, knows this, and we knew this growing up as well, that we're the best trained, Army, the best trained military, right?
Right.
And we're very proud of that, and we should be in America. But what is that? We run a training program. So now I'm working with a community of business owners that are veterans who understood at a very young age that to be bigger, faster, stronger, better,
right,
to meet a mission, you had to be trained, and follow a process.
Exactly.
Right? And you had to do it as a team.
Sure, sure.
And you didn't always get to pick your team.
Correct.
And it was a very diverse team.
Yes, very much so.
And what I absolutely love about veterans is that failure is not an option.
Right.
And they have the intestinal fortitude that it takes
Good
to
phrase.
be a business owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not easy.
No.
It is not
I love that intestinal fortitude. That's great. I love that. I'm going to use that till the cows come home. That's going to be a good one. Yeah.
But so these are the skills that they, whether they know it or not or appreciate it, that are really required of a business owner.
Right.
And so they, when they're in the classroom, so they also understand the value.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So you've got an owner who is there that appreciates how this is going to give them an advantage.
Sure. Sure.
And the advantage is not in terms of competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because they learned at a younger age by the best trained military.
But they
that'll
might
keep
not-
you alive.
yeah.
That'll keep you
Yeah,
alive.
exactly.
And,
They may be able to help support and
Yeah.
support our country, but this program that you're giving is going to help them start their business in the next phase of their life. So for those that don't know, can you share a little bit more about kind of what VIP Veterans in Procurement entails?
Well, it's a training program. We're a training institute. So we refer to those that come through as participants, and when they make it through those 2.5 days, of intense training, they are graduates, and we refer to them as our alumni, right? So we just do training. We don't do awards programs or events. We focus on what we do well and on their success. And how we do that is in a classroom environment, and we do all of our training in person, except I
Right.
think you came through
I
during
did. I came
COVID.
during
COVID,
COVID. Yeah.
We have an
So-
alum here.
That's right.
Yeah. So as the rest of the world had to pivot, and
Yeah.
during COVID, we did as well. Again, failure isn't an option.
Right.
The government had record amount of money going out the door because we had a
sure.
huge mission now to keep not only the economy going,
Yeah.
but healthcare needs, employment need. Every agency was. In it. And so there were opportunities. The government was open, right? And so we pivoted to virtual for that
That
time
was
period
great.
until we could
Yeah.
get back in the classroom. But our training is, back in the classroom, and it's over 2.5 days. And we now have 6 curriculums that support veterans where they
Love that.
are in their development. I am not an instructor. I
Yeah.
never have, never been. I'm the national director, and I help in the development. I run the program, and I
Gotcha.
facilitate some of the trainings now. I used to do all of them, but now I have
Yeah.
a deputy assistant. But the training is done by those that are in market. And as you know, as a business owner, it's your network and your knowledge
Absolutely.
is what it takes to continue to succeed. And of course, that needs to constantly grow.
Yep.
The market's very dynamic. Networks need to expand.
Yeah.
And so the training is done by those that are currently in market, in this particular case, whatever market we're focused on. So
Yeah.
most of our training is on federal procurement, but we also focus on international.
Yep.
So we have over 600 volunteers.
600.
That's impressive.
Volunteers that are business leaders, that are experts in their field,
Yeah.
from industry and government.
That's right. That's right.
Industry and government
Wow.
that support the training. So we have a class going on. Today we kicked off a VIP start class, and
And for those who are, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
those who are starting, that's the first program, Start, right?
It
And there's
is,
Start, Grow, you have
Advance.
Advance, you have International Aerospace, and now
corporate.
Corporate. That's
Wow.
right.
I
The
didn't
Ranger
know all
program.
this.
You'll
Yeah.
be,
I'm going to be one of your instructors.
Instructors,
Yes,
that's-
good or bad.
Yeah, so we started with one program,
Yeah.
and as we grew and developed a wonderful partnership
Yeah.
with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Lockheed was there at the very beginning. They were at the conversation.
Fantastic.
And they support us as well. And aerospace,
Mhm.
VIP aerospace,
Sure.
was something that they felt that they could support.
Yeah.
And so we have 3 sector specific.
Mhm.
So the sectors are aerospace, international,
Yeah.
and corporate,
Okay.
connecting
Wow.
veteran business owners to the private sector.
That's right. And
And, yeah.
what I do want to take a note, because people talk about what is the they may be thinking, okay, what does the training consist of? These are very robust training curriculums. Like, this is not a slide deck thrown together last minute. This is, I remember getting my instruction manual. It was,
This
she saw it in
big.
my office. It was this big manual.
Don't scare me.
But no. But it was a wealth of resource. It was, and it
resources.
kind of goes back to the what you hinted at earlier, was that the network, it has all the people you connected with. It has the people in the class that you're with, and that really becomes, I'm still to this day friends and texting back and forth with some people that I give Roland a shout out. I give there's a lot of different people out there. Alan, you name it. Everybody out there. But the idea is that network becomes who you are. So that it was a beautifully well done, executed program. You have a fantastic team that's creating all these curriculums, right? And they're creating theirs. And I have to ask, to date, how many veteran programs have gone through how many veteran entrepreneurs have gone through these programs?
About 3,200.
3,200.
Wow.
3,000 every state.
Yeah, it's national. Which
Yeah,
is the
every
greatest
state,
thing. Yeah.
D.C.,
Mhm.
Puerto Rico, and Guam. And we have 2 applicants coming in from
That's
American
fantastic.
Samoa.
And it's
Wow.
important to note, these are different sized businesses, not just solo entrepreneurs. These are solopreneurs. These are large corporations, medium corporations. They're all over the spectrum, aren't they?
They are, and that's why we have so many curriculums. So,
Right.
and you come in based on where you are in your
Right.
development, right? So your challenges you have when you're at
Sure.
3 full-time employees,
Yeah.
or even a sole proprietor, right?
Absolutely.
So is different than when you have 80 employees or 150 employees, right? And I hate to say this, but the challenges never go away. They just change.
Yes, that is very true.
And so, I remember one of our, VIP grads saying, I just thought when I got to 10 million, it'd be easy.
It's just numbers.
It's just different.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
just different
different
problem,
different
just
challenge,
bigger numbers.
different-
Yeah, it doesn't mean
And
anything.
so, we're there to support the veteran business through their journey and help them continue to thrive.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's sort of disingenuous to me. So a lot of resources go into incubators or starting a company, right? And that makes sense. You think of a seed packet. I just want 4 tomato plants. Just 4. If I could just get a basket of tomatoes in July, I'd declare victory, right? But you get a seed packet of 1,000 tomato seeds. You're like, what? What am I? Like, heaven forbid, all of these sprout.
Yeah.
But the truth is, so it makes sense that there are a lot of resources and different kind of resources on the earlier stage.
Sure.
But this is the disingenuous part. So think about if you have kids, if we stop educating them when they graduate from elementary school.
Oh, yeah, horrible.
Yeah. No.
You got it. You're on your own. No problem.
How are they
Go
going to
for
grow?
it.
Right,
We can figure this out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They have different challenges.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, they can, go to the bus stop by themselves, or,
Yeah.
or go to their
Right.
friend's house on their bike,
Yeah.
whatever, right? But you have different challenges.
Absolutely.
And so we put all these wonderful resources into helping companies begin, which we need to do,
Sure.
and it's needed. But you have to see why start
Yeah.
if you're not going to see them through a successful journey.
Absolutely. I love
So
that.
we are the last thing that SBA, the last training in terms of in that journey that SBA funds. So we have a, program that goes all the way up to, graduating from small, right?
Right.
But it was, you had to really, we had to find, we had to articulate the why,
Right.
as to why it was important.
Yeah, and I guess how are you measuring the success?
The only way you can.
Yeah.
The
Spill it,
only
Barb.
way.
Yeah,
Spill
give
it.
us the deets.
Tell
Give
us
us the
what it
deets.
is. Yeah.
Well, if you want to help someone grow,
Yeah.
I come from a business, environment, and so business
it.
is all about, did you win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't start a company,
Right.
without, wanting to make money. So we do measure our success on their success.
Love
Right.
it.
Great.
So we are fortunate that the sector that we knew and started with, which was government contracting, that's public data. So, I can go into,
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
we're fortunate that, we can go into, a data set and put in your,
Yeah.
your individual, your unique identifier.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And find out what you've won.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so we can track it daily if we wanted to. We usually track it monthly,
Yeah.
but it's over 40 billion in Prime Awards.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
40 billion. And let's
over 40.
picture that. Over $40 billion
Yeah.
in awards to veteran-owned businesses who had a career. They were looking for something new to develop something. And through training programs and support, now you've reached, and this is very important, they've reached over $40 billion. But how much did that cost them to attend these courses?
We never charge a veteran. We charge
That's
everyone
important.
else.
Which is
Sure.
phenomenal.
Well, you have to. So it's not
Yes.
free. Somebody else is picking up the tab for their behalf and making it
you've
available
already-
for them.
We feel,
Yeah.
the board,
Yeah.
the founders, we're still, that founding principle is that veterans are already paid.
Yes.
This is what the
Yes.
business community does by
Fantastic.
giving back, because the business community benefited from your service. There is no commerce
Yeah.
Exactly.
if
Absolutely.
we are not, if the world's not going around,
Yeah. I
Makes
think
me
that's
happy.
for them.
right?
Yeah.
And so we, and I will tell you that individuals, leaders, business leaders, the federal government has stepped up. You just have to ask, and you
Yeah.
have to organize it so that it makes sense to
Yeah.
them. We're asking them to do something that they can do,
Yeah.
that they want to do.
Well, I think one thing to to keep in mind. Veterans aren't commonly saying, I need help. So I think that's an obstacle sometimes. And when they do muster it up, we need to be able to answer with confidence and steadfastness that they can feel good about and say, okay, this is a great opportunity. But I think also there is an unfortunate circumstance where veterans don't know the potential that's out there, right? And so could you maybe talk a little bit about the contract award potential, let's say from percentages, because I know there's a lot of talk about, what's being allocated for veterans, what maybe the future looks like. Could you maybe talk a little bit about that? Because we hear $40 billion, but they're probably all wondering, well, what would mine be, $1? Would it be a billion? Like what are the opportunities that are there for veterans when it actually comes to dollars?
Yeah.
So maybe you can talk about that.
So the federal government, has a mandated, 5% goal for spend with service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. And it recently changed 2 years ago from 3% to 5%, by the way. And when the world's biggest customer goes from 3 to 5%, it's a real number.
Yeah,
right?
real number.
It's a real number.
Yeah.
So everything with the federal government's either in billions or trillions, right?
That's
It's the scope is big. And so in terms of opportunity, last year, I think veterans won, over $39 billion.
Last year.
Last year.
That's
on Prime Awards.
something.
Yeah, and the government never spends less.
Yeah.
We're growing needs. There's a lot of things we want to do.
Yeah.
Domestically and globally, whether it has to do with security, healthcare, you name it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so the opportunities are vast. I will tell you that we never train you to be a veteran-owned business. If you recall, we might have. We figure you already know how to be a veteran.
Yeah.
We're not going to teach you how to be a veteran. We're going to teach you how to be a business owner.
Right.
And so we still joke that you and I do.
Oh, yeah.
That you have yet cracked the nut on
a federal award.
federal award. But did we help you in your business?
I love that question. And the answer is a resounding yes. And let me explain why. So I'd gone through the program. Mine was online, but network is still powerful. It's still fantastic. But what I learned was the mechanics, the nomenclature, the terminology, the pace, the expectations that needed to be met. And so I was able to better prepare my organization. But now as a result, while I haven't won a federal bid, I've won several state contract awards all across the country. $4 million here, $2 million there. I mean, the opportunities have been abundant. But if it wasn't for that opportunity to have that, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't have the portfolio of clients that we work with at Mojo because in their large transportation and covering the entire states, we're doing international work now. And I can tell you that it was going through that program. And I am ready for that federal award. So anybody out there, any procurement officer, I'm ready. But seriously, the opportunities there go beyond just what you think they'll give you. It prepared our organization at every department of Vantage Point.
And he went through the program, but then he has taught me, and it trickles down through the company. So it's been amazing and has opened up a lot of opportunities.
And she's
us.
great at writing RFPs now, right? Responding RFPs.
So what we teach in VIP is really best business practices.
Sure.
Right? And the federal government, and you'll be happy to know this, is that they're all about mitigating risk to them,
Yeah,
the taxpayer.
Yep,
The
absolutely.
government doesn't have money; it has your money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Where does that money come from? It comes from us,
Sure.
right? And so they are doing their due diligence, and so the rules are written to protect the customer, as you have probably found in the private sector.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So to what extent we can help you as a business owner mitigate your risk to yourself, to your teaming partner, and your
Very much.
customer differentiates you from other businesses.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think even knowing the nomenclature and understanding the operations, the expectations helps me talk to primes, like in a way I couldn't before, right? And I think that was critical.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, if you can do business with Shell Oil Company, you can do business with the Army.
Yep.
And if you can do business with the Army, you can certainly support Shell.
Absolutely.
You just need to understand you have a different network.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You market differently.
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
And the same thing with global. Global, like, it's another whole
Yeah.
beast in of itself because, you're not doing business in English maybe or
Yeah.
in, U.S.
Right.
dollars. And,
Yeah.
you've got other challenges there. But my point is that if you understand how to mitigate or what you should be looking for, questions you should be asking,
Right.
mitigate those risks to yourself, then the customer is going to be that much more comfortable
Absolutely.
doing business with you.
Absolutely. It's all
Yeah.
about that.
So I do have a question too. So like a veteran, they join the program. What can they expect when they first start? I mean, walk us through that.
Oh, okay. We had a kickoff class today for
Yeah.
a VIP
Yep.
start class,
Yeah.
and so we started. They come in from all over the country, right? So
Right.
the environment is classroom, and we try to cap it at 50
Mm-hmm.
companies, just so that we can keep it somewhat conversational. It's not a lecture hall environment, but you want a certain amount so that there's enough diversity of sectors
Yeah,
and
sure.
industries and individuals so that there's a lot of shared learning. You have a broader network, so there's that balance act there. So their expectation is that they're going to be with 49 other CEOs that are and how our applications work for the different curriculums is that it allows for those cohorts to be more similar, in terms of where they are.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Alex comes into class, his expertise is, in marketing, media, and communications and digital information. He might be sitting next to somebody who, oh my gosh, I can't even spell it. And you're
Right,
next
right.
to, saying, I can't spell,
What they do, absolutely.
Something.
There's a
else,
lot
right?
of reciprocity there.
And
that,
so there's a lot of shared learning,
Absolutely.
there.
Okay.
So they pick up a network, and so they pick up a wonderful cohort or a network of 49 other CEOs, and then they have the experience of listening to subject matter experts
absolutely.
in market that they have reach back to. Because in
Yeah.
the binder, and if you're going to teach at VIP, you agree to provide your contact information, but more importantly, you agree to answer the phone
Yeah,
or the email.
absolutely.
Right.
And are available to answer a question, to take a question. Because, after you leave, again, you could have, a challenge come up. And
Yes.
there are resources, right? So you walk
Okay.
away with
Correct.
about 100 resources, a network of about 100
Mm-hmm.
individuals that you can reach back to. I did add up, our classes average anywhere from 35 to 45 instructors, and this class has 38
Oh, wow. Okay.
over 3 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. 38.
It's a lot of people, a lot of resources available to you.
Coming in and out, and,
There you go.
and it's got to, and it's live, live
Yeah.
TV. The
Yeah.
show goes, we have 40, 50, 50 veterans in a room.
But I think what's great about that, and what I hope our viewers are capturing right now, is that this is not one person's opinion of what business should be. You're bringing a plethora of experiences, successes, insights, wisdom to help them, and they get to benefit from that. And it's not there's nobody asking for your credit card at the end of it.
No, we pick up hotel for 3 nights, all your meals, and the training for free.
Right.
You just have to get to Boulder.
Sure.
That's all. So
For
that's it.
for the application process, like, is it super competitive? I mean, I would imagine so, just because there's probably a lot of people that hear about this and want to join.
First come, first served.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, first come, first served.
Wow.
So I did look to see, we've been tracking, there was a time and start. So we talked about the seed packet. More people are
Right.
starting
Right.
than are at 10 million.
Yeah.
Just the way it is, that are veteran-owned. We only train veteran-owned businesses. And so there are more individuals that qualify to come in to start.
Yeah.
And so
Gotcha.
therefore we have the most applicants. So we recently got additional funding, so we were able to get our waiting time down. It used to be 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
down to this class only had to wait 367 days.
Oh, good. Okay.
There you go.
Much better.
There you
Much
go.
better.
Everything. I'm a numbers person.
Yeah.
If you can,
No, it's awesome.
if you can measure it, it means
Yep.
it can be improved, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but we feel now that we're probably within a 6-month
Okay.
turnaround.
Nice.
It's hard to kind
fantastic.
of measure.
Yeah.
It's based on applications. So it's first come, first serve. The application takes about 5-6 minutes to complete.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very simple
Very
application. Yeah,
And they can just go to the website and
go to
apply.
the website
Yeah.
and go, look at the curriculums and which one they qualify for. They will know.
Right.
And apply, and we reach out, and as soon as there's an opening, you come right in. We
Love
onboard
it.
you. Yeah, and
That's
you
great.
and the binder is often referred to that you get in the class. Is as the Bible,
Yeah,
sort
absolutely.
of,
The big binder, I've seen it.
and it's funny. Individuals will come up to me in the class, say, you can do this, you can get this digitalized. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But the thing is good luck 10 years from now
Yes,
finding
exactly.
that digital file.
Yeah.
And people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm so glad because I can always find it. It's right behind me. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's right here behind my desk."
Well-
Whenever I respond to an RFP, it will be, sometimes it's 60 pages, sometimes it's 120. I will print it out and go through it and highlight it
Absolutely.
and make notes. Like, I don't know, it's just there. I can find it, and
And well, I think
seems
even,
crazy, but
Well, you even provide like highlighters. You give this whole kit, like it's highlighters
Sticky
and the
notes.
sticky notes and everything, so that way you can really get and own that document. And it's a lot. It personalizes a lot more. But as we kind of start to wrap, there's a couple questions I want to start to think about. Is people think about the current government climate and what's happening, what's good, bad, indifferent. We're talking about the mechanics. What I found important, I wonder if you could affirm, is it just my interpretation or is this a truth, that when you start to get into this, federal procurement opportunities, now you really kind of have to start to know the mechanics, like what legislation means, what changes are taking place, how it could affect your business. Is that just my interpretation of it, or do you find that you need to you expand your knowledge and awareness of what's happening in the government through the programs like this, because you become keenly aware, I think. Is that true?
No, absolutely. And it's true even in the private sector, right? You have to be, up on your market.
Yeah.
Yep.
How and what your customer buys
Right.
matters. And the how part is the, how are they issuing procurements? How are they issuing requirements? What are those requirements?
There you go.
How do I participate? And how does the customer do business with you or find you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so there was a study, and I don't know if Deloitte did it, but it was one of the large consulting firms that did a study many years ago.
Okay.
And the chamber, kind of picked up on it because what chambers do is advocate for businesses in their communities. At the end of the day, they're an advocacy organization. But policy, just policy
Sure.
in your sector accounts for 10% of your profit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 10%
Yes,
of your
10%.
profit.
So
Oh,
you
my
need
goodness.
to stay, so you should have a voice in that, so if you belong to, whatever your sector is,
Sure.
you should belong to that sector's association of,
Absolutely.
right? And if they're doing a good job, and they wouldn't be, in business if they weren't doing a good job and have members, but they're advocating because
Absolutely.
they understand that that's 10%. So getting back to the federal government, what the government buys and how they buy it does directly impact
Yeah.
everyone, but especially
Absolutely.
small businesses because they are more susceptible, because they don't have the reserves, necessarily to, if they don't pivot
Sure.
right away,
Sure.
they're going to be, out of luck. And so every administration, there are always changes in terms of priorities. So you better be paying attention
Sure.
as to what the priorities are
Yeah.
and as to what they're going to buy and how they're going to buy it. And
Absolutely.
so to that point, none of our binders are the same. So we have over 3,000 binders out there
Yep.
because the instructors come and the content changes.
Yeah.
Right, of
Because
course.
how the government bought when we launched in
have to adapt.
2009. Now the best
Absolutely.
business practices are there, but the tools we use.
Sure.
You and I were chatting about AI before we came on
Absolutely.
today, and that's a tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Powerful
Just
tool.
a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
There used to be, the hammer. Now there's your electric nail gun. Right?
There you
It's
go.
a tool. You're still having to put that into a board.
I love it because I walk around saying the power drill, right? But you should hand it with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
But now you got a power drill and or electric hammer. And I think the value is now as organizations with that tool, we can become more creative. We can get more efficient. We can come, and that's when you got to use it. So
And that's I love how I think AI will be incredibly powerful for small businesses
absolutely.
because they don't have the and it's, the resources,
Sure.
they can do, and they'll be able to,
Absolutely.
really benefit
Succeed
tremendously
faster,
in
yeah.
terms of a competitive advantage,
Absolutely.
and give them speed of play.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'd be a little bit remiss. I'm going to pass this over to you, but
Yeah,
what
sure,
I'm,
go ahead.
I'm curious, so you have all these, you have this program, you're super focused on this and success and the impact it's going to make. But this is really where the leadership actually comes in. And I'm really kind of curious to hear some thoughts from you on, when you started this journey and to where you're at now. There's probably been a lot of reflection and changes. As a leader, how have you, can you look back and say, I've evolved, I've become a little bit more of this, a little less of that? Just kind of curious as to the journey you've had in this.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. It's just been a joy. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's really a joy. But, I will tell you, we did not receive any public funding.
Yeah.
It was all funded through, what they say, friends, family, and
Yeah.
fools.
Sure.
Anybody who
Family
can-
pools. Love that, yeah.
For the first 5 years. And I remember the CFO telling me, you only have $9,000 left.
Yeah.
And I said, if we do this program,
Yeah.
coming up, you'll only have, if everything goes well, 9,000 left. I'm like, we're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all in, because what good is a nonprofit if it doesn't? I'd just as soon this be our last one than just hang on to money, for whenever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we went, and luck. There's always luck. Whether you're a nonprofit or there's luck.
Yeah,
in
but with
life.
your drive and your leadership,
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's
we
some
ended
luck,
up
but
getting a state award and
Sure.
grant and so we're still in
Yeah.
in business,
In
but
the
it
fight.
has evolved. We just had the one curriculum, and I remember when we launched it was always going to be free, right?
Yeah.
And so there's Barry Kane, and I won't go into the long story of how we had no money. It was an idea, but we had no funding.
Sure.
So we found donated space, donated this, donated
wow.
that. Everything was donated. We all donated our time. I donated
Sure.
my time. My staff, we'd work all day and then go to the Clark Construction Building at night,
Yeah.
and you make things, like how you bootstrapped,
Sure.
the
That's what you
business,
gotta do.
the same thing.
You
If
gotta
you
do it.
want to do it, you're going to have to figure it out. But then, 50 veterans showed up. We're like, oh my God, they didn't even know what they're getting into. And then Barry Kane turns to John Zakar and I. We're the three founders, and we're like, yeah, this is great. Our first, and we were doing it similar to how you went through, but it was in person.
Yeah.
But we met for 90 minutes at night, from 6 to 8 for 2 hours, from
Okay.
6 to 8 at night, every other Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
It took 3 months.
Yeah, that's a long program.
Yeah, and so he said, do you think they'll come back? We thought, we hadn't thought of that. And so it was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Here's to
Yeah, so
hoping.
would they really come back for,
Yeah.
for 12 more
Yeah.
weeks, right?
Sure, sure.
And same with you. You didn't have to dial back in.
No, I had
It's
every
free.
excuse in the world to walk away, right?
Well, you built this amazing program, and I'm so glad that you got to share it with us today and our, audience. Is there a quote or a mantra that you have that, either reflects how program or your leadership style that you want to share with our audience?
I think I might have even used it earlier. Failure is not an option. And my dad was a small business owner.
Mm.
And that really, I saw what he had to do. And he
Yeah.
never complained a day in his life. He really didn't. But I saw that, failure wasn't an option. My mom
Sure.
was a stay-at-home mom, and she helped him in the business. She did
Right.
the invoicing and a lot of the work.
Team, yeah.
Teamwork. But
Yeah.
if he didn't work, we didn't, as he said, if I can't go to work, I don't make money.
Right.
Right.
And so I have taken that, to heart. And so
love that.
failure is just never an option, and especially for our veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is, and I instill that with the team,
Sure.
and that there's always a way, that, we have every class that comes in, the START class that came in today has to have
Yeah.
that same experience that you
Absolutely.
had,
Yeah.
that the one and the veteran after them.
Yeah.
And you have to maintain that. And so now we train 600 companies a year.
Wow.
But to maintain that
Consistency.
consistent
Yeah, absolutely.
excellence every time. And so, we cannot, every
It takes
class-
diligence.
Yeah, I was going to say you're diligent.
It takes diligence, yes.
It
Yeah.
does. It
Perfect.
takes
Yeah,
a
it does.
lot of diligence.
Yeah.
It does. So
Yeah.
but that's my sort of, failure.
Thank you.
We will figure it out.
Yeah.
We will get this done.
It's very inspiring, and thank
Oh.
you. See how you get me excited.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I'd also be remiss to ask the other two parts of those questions is the other part is there a book that you've read that keeps you on track or inspired you a little bit during your journey? And then the last part of the question is, could you maybe share a lesson you've learned? You shared a lot of lessons, actually, being agile, diligent, having intestinal
Failure isn't
fortitude.
an option.
Yeah, failure's not an option. But I'm curious, could you just comment on those last two? Is there a good lesson or a book maybe taught you a good lesson?
I think a book that really kind of inspired me to think a little differently, as we evolved to support the community, right, is I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And I have to just say, I love books. I wish I had more time to read, but a picture book is great.
Yeah. Little pop-up,
It was
Yeah.
a little book, but it is
Or just a podcast.
a podcast. I
There
love.
you go.
It's called Steal Like an Artist.
Steal like an artist.
Yeah, you
No.
know,
Okay.
I love
writing
Write
that
it
down.
And
Steal like an artist.
Picasso said, "Artists are thieves."
Mm.
But the idea is that we're always building on some other idea.
Yes.
There's no new out there. And artists are really good at it, and they're okay with it.
Yeah.
They see a color, they take that color, but they create their own.
Right.
And so it shows all the way that musicians heard a sound
Oh, sure.
and
Sure.
built upon
Yeah.
a sound.
Yeah.
The business community
Yeah.
needs to embrace it.
Fantastic.
And so, keep your ears and eyes open. It basically says keep your eyes open, build upon, and that's how we move through and evolve and create.
Yeah.
And so Steal Like an Artist is a fun book. It's an easy read, but it's fun. It's inspirational. and I would say a lesson learned, I have the good fortune of being, in a classroom over, 16 years.
Sure.
with
3,200
incredible,
businesses. Yeah, sure.
business leaders and CEOs that come in and teach, and then the alumni that come back like yourself
Yeah.
and teach. So, I would say that most of them have said, and I found that true as well, that if something doesn't feel right in the organization or in the company, if you listen to your gut.
Yeah, sure.
Listen to your gut, and and particularly with people, if it's not going to get better, it's not going to get better. And so I'd say the biggest you hear mostly from CEOs, and I think that's the hardest lesson I think for many to learn, because it's like family.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But those are the
Don't tell her it's like family. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, but it's you're
Yeah.
close,
Yeah,
and
of
so
course.
that's the
Yeah,
hardest thing I
absolutely.
think for any leader is to, and so that's probably the lesson that I hear mostly in class,
Fantastic.
and that's the hardest one I still think, but
Well, Barbara, you've been a wealth of information, and I just want to honestly say that the organization is doing so well, and because you and the whole team and your leadership and their support, I mean, my hat's off to all of them and you, and I'm glad to be affiliated with such a great organization, and it's doing such a big impact, right? And it's a great thing. So thank you very much for joining us today. And I hope all of our guests enjoyed listening to Barbara Ashe. She is going to be teaching and promoting opportunities for veterans all abroad the country, and we hope that you take a look at it by visiting nationalvip.org. Make sure you go out there, and if you are a veteran and you want to learn more, don't be afraid to reach out and apply. It seems like that waiting list is drawn down a lot, but we're hoping that you will take advantage of these great opportunities to help grow your business as well. And for those other diligent leaders out there, tune in again, like, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for joining.